What's going on, everyone? So we are on our last of the Holy Trinity builds here with the healer. Now it might be a good thing that I saved this for last, because yesterday, as of recording this, they nerfed the new Maestra armor pretty heavily. Now it's still doable, but that combined with the new health increases to the bosses, it's made this build have a bit more of a struggle. You have to be a lot more cautious. We don't have a ton of life because we're invested in the two lowest health stats. Or virtues, I should say. You got to be a lot more careful there. You have a lot less armor now because this is a whole other topic, but spirit is a bad virtue. It is not a good virtue. There is zero reason to go into spirit other than just meeting the requirement to use the stabs. It is a really bad stat. I think it needs to be reworked. It's really bad. Again, courage, just in terms of life, you're gaining 12 HP per point of courage. You're getting 6 per point of grace, and you're getting 3 per point of spirit. So there is absolutely no reason to go into spirit. Even the only extra bonus you get from spirit is cooldown reduction, but abilities regen fast anyway, and you can get your abilities back in full from smite pulls. It is a horrible stat that needs a rework, and again, the spirit armor is awful. I have an idea for I think there needs to be a whole pact, or not a pact, a prelude that has a combat mage type pact, reworked spirit, gives us a 3-star spirit armor, like a whole rework for spirit, because spirit is awful. There is even this build we're going to work on here. The abilities, the main ability, our healing ability, you don't even need to scale with spirit because it heals pretty decently already. It's a bad stat. Anyway, I'm ranting too much already. But we are going to be focusing in here more on grace, specifically because we're using Seathorn, but we'll get to that. So yeah, to start off here, virtue, we're just using the Oro's Ranger Prism. That gives us the best split here. Again, we have to reach 18. That's another thing too. All of the stabs have like way higher requirements than most of the other weapons. Most of the other weapons, they have like requirements of 6 and stuff like that. This Seathorn requires 18. That is so much investment in a really bad stat. So yeah, this is going to be rough. I'll say it now. I don't know how we're going to do in Mirifuir, but we'll see. But yeah, that's kind of our split right now. We've got 18 spirit, 28 grace. It's kind of the best we could do, having to invest so much into spirit. But we'll move on to the armor here. Now, you're going to have a few options that aren't all great. For the helmet, okay, so I should point out, for starters, Maestra armor used to be that it double scaled with every stat. So it was 2 in virtue, in grace, courage, and spirit. So there was no wasted stats, essentially. All those stats that I threw into spirit just to be able to use this staff didn't go to waste, because it would at least carry over to the armor and contribute to the armor. But yeah, the Maestra set has a weird scaling too. So the helmet is 3 physical, 2 magic, 2 stability. Whereas when you go and look at the chest and the legs, it's 3-2-3 versus 3-2-2. So it scales a little bit differently. So this is probably the first time I've ever done a split set. And in this case, we're using 3 different parts, but I'll kind of show you your options. So again, with Mockery here, it's a nice balanced split of 10-10-10. You could go with Maestra. It's 1 less. There's no reason. You get 1 more physical, but there's no reason. Don't go with Maestra. You could go with Orangal as well, which wouldn't be a terrible option. You get 13 in physical, 13 in stability, which I do think are probably the most important stats in the game at the moment, or the most important defenses. And you only get 5 magic here, so you're a little weaker there. Garen's not too bad either, 10, 9, 11. Again, it's very similar to Mockery here, except it's taking 1 from magic, putting into stability. If it was the other way around, where it put maybe 1 into physical instead of stability, I'd probably be using that, because again, I think most of the time you're getting hit by physical. But yeah, so those are kind of your 3 options here, at least for the helmet, in my opinion. So kind of go with what you think would work best for you in your playstyle. So for the chest armor, I am actually still using Maestra. It's 14, 9, 13. So again, it scales a little bit better stability wise. Garen can get you a little more balanced stats, but it's really not, you're only gaining 1 more magic. Not really worth it there. I wouldn't say it's something to even consider really. Mockery 11, 11, 12. So again, a little more balanced, kind of decide what you want there. And then 15, 6, 14, slightly better stats in physical and stability, but a fair amount less in magic. So I do actually think Maester is probably the best in this situation. Pensive is another potential set. It's probably our best spirit set at the moment, but only because it scales with other stats. So yeah, kind of go with what you want from there. I'm personally using Maestra just because I think physical is a little more important, but I can see an argument for Pensive as well to kind of get that magic up, especially going into Mirifuir here. Maybe that is something we do. But we'll leave it as is for now. And then finally, the pants. I am currently using Orangals at 14, 6, and 13. Even though the Maestra scales the same, it still seems a little bit worse here. It's only 2 less magic on the Orangal, but you get an extra point in physical and stability. Again, Garen's can be okay, but not really a reason to run that. Instead, you just get more stat points out of Maestra. And then Pensive, again, same kind of deal. A little more balanced, but not quite in the important stats. So that's what I'm running at the moment. You could mix that up again with this boss fight that we're going to be doing in Mirifuir. The 25 magic might be a little bit low, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's tough. It's tough to say because everything else is going to be, you know what? Is Pensive what I want? Yeah, maybe. Let's throw on Pensive. I don't know if we do the whole set. How's Pensive? 10, 10, 9, 10, 10, 10. Okay, Mockery is just better there. Weird. It's weird that Mockery is better there. 11, 11, 12. Yeah, then Mockery is worse there. 11, 11, 11, 11, 10. 11, oh, and then they're exactly the same. Just go Mockery. Go Mockery. So we get a little bit more armor there. We are going to get a little more magic resist. It's still rough though. Our armor is still in rough shape, so we'll see how that goes. So anyway, moving on from the armor, we don't really need to worry too much about the combat stats here. Again, these are more of like bonuses more than anything, but I'll show you my my staff or my magic skill tree here. I've leveled up all the staves, and this is kind of what I can do with it. I don't think there's really anything super worth talking about here. Grounded is nice. If you stand still, you're going to do as you stand still up to 4 times. You'll start attacking faster and faster. You'll see a little indicator around your feet, a little magic swirl, and these little star looking things. That's pretty much the only one you really have to worry about. You can deflect projectiles. I haven't really tried this too much. Maybe I should, but I don't play mage too much, so I haven't messed around with that. And then we are using a dagger, so we're looking at short blades here. There's so many short blades. If you level them all up, you should be able to just max everything out. Again, nothing super important here to talk about. Just kind of do what works for your playstyle. Now we'll move on to our weapons here. So I could have gone and used the new Silly Fang. I mean, Silly Staff. I don't know why I call it Silly Fang. Silly Staff. I like it better because it scales with Courage. Courage is a better stat. I wanted to go with something a bit more thematic. Seathorn's got like a water effect to it when you're using it. Water, healing, kind of just felt like it worked together. So that is what we went with here. And I also wanted to try scaling it with Grace. I feel like staves used to be able to get headshots. If you hold right click to aim, you can actually get headshots, or could actually get headshots. You can free aim your staff instead of having it auto aim, but it doesn't seem consistent, or it might just not be working at all anymore. I don't know what's the case there. Maybe I misinterpreted what was happening when I first used it, but either way, I wanted to try Grace, and because Grace scales better and offers more damage with headshots, I figured that was the play here. So it all just kind of came together there. So as always, I'll get rid of my face here. We'll talk about our runes and our totems. So I'm using the Hollowing. So when you use it, you mark a foe after 3 attacks. This is maxed out, I believe. At base level, it's 6 attacks and 260% damage, something like that. But either way, 3 attacks on the marked foe releases an explosion, dealing 300% damage. Now, this explosion will hit other units in the area, or other enemies, I should say. I don't know how big the radius actually is. It's nothing too crazy, but either way, you hit it 3 times and it'll explode. The damage does it to itself as well, so it's just an extra little bit of bonus damage. Plus, this gives us 2 attack slots. I like attack. Why not? So right now I have the reduce enemy armor. We don't have fly blades or anything to strip armor for us, so I kind of have that on for that. And then, of course, I have attack speed on here because I like attack speed. And then for our defensive slot, I have physical armor. We could swap that out for magic for whatever activity we're doing, but I'm just going to keep it on physical for now. And then lastly, we have our smite chance in our utility slot. And yeah, just more smite chance to get our abilities back, to heal a little bit off of that kind of thing. Moving on to our sidearm, which I think is going to actually end up having to be a little more of a factor, especially in Mirifuir here, but you'll see when we get there. So I am using Flint Smoke on our, I guess I should say what dagger I'm using. I'm using the Watan, just because this is kind of the same scaling, Spirit and Grace, and then I've used a joinery to attune it to Grace, so it's at the maximum Grace attunement here. Again, same thing with Seathorn. They just kind of work together. Thematically, it felt more of a mage type weapon. I don't think it's necessarily the best weapon. I kind of like Grin a little bit more, but like I said, thematic. So Flint Smoke did get a nerf with the new rune system. It used to be that you could go through an entire dungeon off 1 Flint Smoke charge and just murder everything. And I was a little disappointed when they first nerfed it, but I understand it. It was a little too much. It kind of trivialized things way too much. And you can still kind of do the same thing with Flint Smoke now. You just have to do it in groups. So you can kill one group with a charge, move to the next group, kill another group with a charge, and so on and so on. So you still essentially get the same effect. It's still very strong. You get to cloak yourself for 6 seconds, and then each kill extends that duration by 3. So again, you can kind of bounce from target to target. The AI is a little weird too. They'll just kind of come over to you and stand there waiting for you to execute them. Nice guys that they are. So yeah, I think it's still very strong. So we're using that here. On our attack slot, we've got attack speed because I like attack speed. On our defensive slot, we got physical again, just because I do think that's the most important, or the most threatening defense. You know, I think most things do physical damage, or more things than anything do physical damage. So I'm using that. And then our utility, which we get 2 slots from with Flint Smoke. We've got the additional smite chance, and then we've got pull to stagger. Now, I think this is broken. I've got this on some of my other builds. I do think if this was working properly, it would be good to have, but I don't think it's working properly. Essentially, when you pull smite, it's supposed to deal 230 stagger to anything 12 meters around the target, which is great. But yeah, I don't think it's working right now. But yeah, that's what we're looking at for our weapons as well as our runes and totems. Moving on from there, look at our our talisman here. I was going to call it a necklace. Whatever. It goes around our neck. We're using the grace one here again, just as much grace as we can, with as little spirit as we can. But yeah, that's basically it there. Now, moving on to pacts, we essentially have two options if we're going for a healing type build. So we could go with Garen Rude, and Garen Rude does have its torment. So torment leeches life from your foes and redistributes it to your allies, and this would let us scale into courage. I would basically take my combat mage build and throw this on there if I wanted to do that, and it would probably be better. I like all the abilities way more here. So that is something you can do if you don't really care about kind of the theme and that kind of thing. But I'm trying to use things that don't typically get used as much. So we're using Oshilda here. If you happen to have wild Oshilda, you're going to be in an even better spot. But I do think it's a little bit of a weaker pact, but it's fine. We're going to work with it. So because I'm not a wild Oshilda, I only have 30 points to work with. So this is kind of what I went with here. The tendrils are kind of nice. This is one of the signature passives. Enemy attacks may be met with creeping tendrils, which stop movement and deal damage over time. So it basically petrifies them. I don't know if I've really noticed the damage over time, but either way, when they hit you, they get frozen. Gives you a little bit of a break, especially with how low our armor and health are. It can be a lifesaver. Now, this is the other exclusive signature passive for Oshilda. Arcanic powers recharge more quickly when standing in water. So your abilities recharge when you're standing in water. The problem is it's a little too gimmicky for me. There's not really a lot of pools of water that you're going to be standing in most places to get that regen. So I don't even bother putting points into that. I just put a point in there to be able to get to healer, which again, we're trying to do a healer build. So this kind of works. I forget what I had originally, but I didn't have points in sympathy because I figured with our heal, we were going to be able to heal enough. But then I thought about it. If you're in a situation where you're in a team fight, if we get to a point where abilities matter a little bit more, and you want to save that heal of yours for an important clutch moment to save your team, it might be better to have some of your own sustain. So I threw in a point in sympathy, just so when we do our pull smites, it heals us basically. So just a little bit of ways to have some self-sustain. Again, I had to go through rooted and wingspan, not necessarily the most important, but again, we had to do that to get to sympathy. We do have full points in grace because that's what we're scaling. I had to put points into Idris's favor, just because we needed the spirit. It sucks, but and then I had one more point left over, so I just threw it in Mora's Pride. There's nothing else I really do. Damage on pull is whatever. This just basically gives us an extra 12 HP, which is kind of nice with how low we are. Now, I didn't talk about the abilities, so we'll do that real quick. I don't think we really need to go to the wiki to look at these. They're fairly simplistic. I don't think we need to see all the details, but the stone is nice. I'll probably get my face. It's not that important. It's not that important. It's fine. It's fine. So your courage ability is bestown. Basically, it's like it's a CC. You shoot out a projectile thing. It hits and it'll spread to up to, I believe, 4 targets, and it'll turn them to stone. They take a little damage when you, a little extra damage when you hit them. It will break them out of the stone once you hit them. or it'll kind of last for a fairly short time before they break out on their own. It's whatever. It's a little CC. It's not terrible. This is kind of our main thing here with Elder Bloom, our spirit ability. Reap the long-sowed seed of the Elder Bloom. Restore life to all envoys within the puff of pollen. So I don't know the exact radius. You don't really see one too much, but basically put a little flower down and it kind of heals anything within the area. Again, I don't think it's a huge radius, so it's going to be hard to heal some of your teammates if they're a little more spread out. I do hope we eventually get a pack that's a little more like direct healing, you know. But for now, this is kind of what we got. When you're playing solo, basically you want to throw it on the ground at your feet and then just fight in it to keep yourself healed. It does heal decent chunks at a time, so it's not a bad heal. And lastly, we've got Phantom Flock here. You basically call down some birds and they just keep attacking a target. I think it builds up their stagger a bit. It's nothing to write home about. The damage is not anything fantastic. Even though we're scaled with Grace, it's kind of whatever. You're going to be doing most of your work with your two weapons here. So as you're going to see as we go through Mirifuir, I'm going to try and get my rune charges on both weapons because I do think we're going to need them. So yeah, I do think this is probably going to be the first build where we really have to take advantage of all elements of the build. Our main weapon, our side weapon, all our abilities, stuff like that. It's gonna be a lot. I want to say I'm kind of happy with the way my colors turned out on this. I think it looks kind of cool with the green teal kind of look with the gold. Just thought I'd show that off a little bit. Pretty happy with that considering most of the time I'm just wearing black. I was pretty happy with this one. So let us head over to Mirifuir here. Am I there already? Yes. So again, I am not sure how this is going to go. I do think the changes that were made to the boss health and stuff like that were necessary. I can still, with my other runs that are a little more combat focused, I can still blast through Mirifuir, blast through the final two bosses. I'm actually going to try and get some spirit from these guys because I think it's going to be important. But yeah, I can kind of blast through and trivialize most of the bosses still anyway. It's really going to only be a build like this where we're not built for combat really. Like we can do some okay damage, but we're not really built for it. So it might be a bit of a struggle. I'll give you my strategy now for the bosses here. So the final three is going to be the tough part. When you first get in there, two of them, the two you fought solo in the leading up to that final boss fight, they're usually weak. They're usually fairly weak. So I'm thinking what I try and do is I pop my my flint smoke and I go in and I just try and at the very least kill the first closest of the bosses and just try and get him out of the fight. And then we just got to work on the healer, the one in white. He'll be the next most important one to try and kill. So yeah, that's kind of my strategy going in here. I don't know how it's gonna go. Every other build I've done, and even this one before the changes, kind of just trivialized the boss fights, and it was nothing. But yeah, we'll see how this one goes. So we got full runes on our dagger there. Did I kill him? Yeah. Okay, all the way up there. Oh, we got these guys we can kill. It's like we still do pretty decent damage. It's just gonna be a little more difficult in that final boss fight, fighting three at once. I'm gonna waste too much time on these guys, but so maybe I get some rune charges going here. I don't think I'll use the dagger really until that final bit, just as kind of my initial entry into the final boss fight, most likely. I might use it on the solo bosses too. We'll see. We'll see. Again, we don't really have anything that... Ooh, rare squirrel. Time out. Time out. There you go. You can see my Ocarina of Time skills. All right, moving on. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Again, we don't really have any major damage stuff, so we're just free attacking, basically. Again, I'm going to try and build up as many rune charges as possible here. We want options. If we die, it'll be a little rough because we'll have 0 rune charges. But we'll see what we can do here. I'm sure this will still work fine in groups because you'll have teammates that can kind of make up for your lack of damage. But I kind of want to show that this is still at least somewhat doable as a solo. I had to free aim there. My auto aim wasn't quite getting it done. Now be very careful. This guy throws big balls, and they do hurt with how low our stuff is here. He's charging his little spirit bomb here. I can reach him. I don't know if it goes through terrain. Yes, it does. Kind of, but not really. That ball kind of hurt a little bit. Don't worry, I worry about killing these ads first. You're coming down, okay. Now, also be very, very careful with these guys. They reflect your attacks. You'll hear this like shing, 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 and that's when they have their shield up. And it will reflect your attacks back at you, and it will melt you. So where'd he go? Be very careful with that. That sound there, that's him reflecting our stuff back at us here. And I could be using my heals and my other abilities, which I do think is going to be something very important that you want to do. Let's do some dagger stuff here. There we go. Dagger might actually be better against those guys. Again, just because they reflect magic, basically. So yeah, maybe we do focus them down with melee weapons in this case. So again, this kind of goes to show why I always, if I'm using a ranged weapon, I make sure I have a melee sidearm as well. Just having options to deal with different scenarios is always nice. So we'll come on through here. Not for a little loot. I will say your heavy attack, which I used to get through this guy's shield, will get through the deflection from those guys as well. I don't think they can reflect your heavy attacks, so keep that in mind. That might be an option as well if you want to stick with your staff. But yeah, I might just use the dagger here. We'll go in with our flint smoke. Just get some free damage in here. I'll make sure I don't get him stuck in the door. Oh, My abilities have been glitching out quite a bit too. I tried to use my birds there and they just kind of whiffed. They didn't come out and they just disappeared on me. Ads out of here. I don't think I really need to too much, but do it anyway. It's down. All right, so like not as smooth as our other runs have been. Again, they all have more HP now. We got there. This will be the hard part though. This part I'm not sure. So I think what I'm going to do is right out of the gate, I'm going to pop my my rune charge, my flint smoke. I'm going to run in the closest mage right here. I'm going to try and go at right away. I don't know if I'm going to throw my heal down right there. I might. I think it's more important to kill him before the healer can heal him, and then you only have to worry about fighting two guys. So yeah, I'm a little nervous about this one, but we'll see how it goes. Oh, stopped running. Might waste some time for us. Can't hit him for whatever reason. Oh, he's dead. Perfect. Oh. Well, my dodge didn't dodge. I dodged, but he caught me with his AoE. So we're not going to get S rank. And this guy's probably healed by now. We'll see what happens here. Oh, maybe not. Maybe we can get a quick kill in. Nope. He healed him. Okay, so my birds didn't do anything there. My abilities are just like not working sometimes here, which is not very helpful. And now we don't have our rune charges. Now my rune charges want to activate. There we go. Probably not the greatest place to fight him. It was a little wonky, but it's okay. We're getting there. You got a little stuck. We're okay with that. Gotta be careful of that. Careful of his AoE does. So you can see he hit me with that and did like half my health in one hit. So we are definitely not as... Oh, that's not great. What's he doing down there? Guess we can kind of take that, use that to our advantage. But there you go. So it wasn't the smoothest, and we did get clipped by that big, that maybe not big, but that AoE that caught us there. That was probably just user error, really. Wasn't more careful with that. I probably should have gotten my heal down a little bit sooner, but there you go. That's basically it. Again, probably not as smooth as the other builds, but this isn't a combat focused build. It's mainly meant to just fill that role for fun, that healer role for fun. But yeah, I wanted to show that it is doable. I know a lot of people have been a little up in arms about the new changes to boss health and stuff like that, but you can very clearly see that it is doable even solo, even with a build that's not really optimal. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I don't know if I really have any more builds coming right now. There's not really any weapons I want to build around. There's nothing interesting for me at the moment, so this might be the last build for a little bit. But yeah, either way, hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you all in the next one.